The Orlando Magic have hit rock bottom. Given every opportunity to win, they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Another disappointing loss and a lot of soul searching to do today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is March 5th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, oh boy, you hope this is rock bottom. The Orlando Magic fall to the Toronto Raptors in what can only be described as a tank job. How the Magic lost to the Raptors, the opportunity they continue to squander, and where the heck do the Magic go next? We'll get to all that coming up here in just a moment. First, I want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first in the morning, whether it's right we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You can make Locked On Magic even bigger part of your day with the Locked On Magic daily newsletter, the one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. This is rock bottom. Or you better hope this is rock bottom. The Orlando Magic, frankly, have no excuse for losing to the Toronto Raptors. And again, I want to get this out of the way just immediately. Credit to the Toronto Raptors. They made the shots. They made the plays. They won the game. Whether it was AJ Lawson, Jamal Shead, Jacoby Walter, they made the plays to win this game. They earned the win. They deserved the win. AJ Lawson with 8 fourth-quarter points, all of them just crushing for the Orlando Magic. All of them requiring a superhuman answer from Paolo Banchero. And when the Magic finally got the stop that they needed to give themselves a chance to take the lead, and then took the lead with 4 seconds left, Jacoby Walter hit a ballsy three-pointer over Tristan da Silva with half a second remaining. I'm not going to complain about the shot. I'm not going to complain about the shot making. Toronto made a lot of tough shots. But this is the thing. This is the difference. The Toronto Raptors played free. They played without expectations. The Raptors tanked the game. They took out Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, Jakob Poeltl, RJ Barrett, all the veterans sat during crunch time. That merely opened the door. That merely kept the door open for Orlando and allowed for a superhuman effort. Over the last 7.5 minutes of the game, when Orlando was down by 10, Paolo Banchero scored 18 of his 22 fourth-quarter points, of his 41 total points, and willed the Magic into this lead, into this game. For the second straight night, Paolo Banchero just kind of said, F it, I'm going to lead this team to victory. We'll talk Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. I want to make sure I give them their due. We're going to deal with that on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic because we're in crisis mode here. Paolo Banchero had another ridiculous effort in the fourth quarter. Scored another 41 points. Franz Wagner added 28, and it wasn't enough to win. The Raptors tanked the game. And again, remember, organizations tank, players don't. Credit to Jacoby Walter for the shot he made. Credit to AJ Lawson for the shot he made. The Raptors put their veterans on the bench, and the Magic couldn't squeeze this one out. They couldn't get this one done. They couldn't get the job done. In a moment where the Magic absolutely need wins and absolutely need victories, they were handed the game, and they tried. Again, I'm not going to question the effort, but the urgency came too late. The errors and mistakes were too big. And at the end of the day, this is what's changed. The Raptors and their skeleton crew played the way the Magic played in November and December. They played with the urgency and intensity of a team that wants to win, a team that's playing with no expectations, that does not care about the results, just the effort and the will and frankly, the bravery to play. For the Orlando Magic, they only had two players play that way. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. And so all the issues on Tuesday night at least, came from the Magic themselves. All the mistakes, the reason why the Magic are sitting here on a 4-game losing streak, sitting here with a 1-5 homestand, and a homestand they could not afford to drop games. A homestand where they lost close games to the Grizzlies because they couldn't call timeout. They blew a 17-point lead in the third quarter. A homestand where they had the lead, a 17-point lead over the Golden State Warriors, and lost it to again, superhuman game from Stephen Curry, but could not get that back, could not get themselves back. A homestand where they fell behind by 9 to the Toronto Raptors, fought their way back only to come up short. And then again, fell behind big again to the Raptors and fell short. A homestand where everything has been in the Magic's hands, everything has been there for them to take, and they let it slip away. How is this possible? How is this team dropping the ball this much? It's quite simple. It's the same issue we talked last week, when the Magic lost the Cavs the way they lost the Cavs. There is a major crisis of confidence. There's a major crisis of belief right now. When this team gets punched, they get staggered. The Raptors' punch did not come until the third quarter. Orlando did a good job maintaining the lead. But again, just like Sunday's game, every time it felt like Orlando was about to race ahead or take full control, string of fouls, missed shots, they let the Raptors back into the game. Orlando this time gave up a 22-4 run to fall behind by double digits. They gave up 8 free throw attempts in that run alone. The Raptors shot 35 free throw attempts. The Raptors hit 13 offensive rebounds for 24 second chance points. These are all self-inflicted wounds. And again, credit the Raptors. They earned it. They deserve it. But these are all mistakes the Magic are making. These are all introspective mistakes. These are all things they can fix. These are all things they can make better. If the Magic are so desperate for a win, if the Magic are as urgent for a win as they keep telling us they are, then why do they keep dropping the ball? Why do they keep looking like a team that doesn't know what they're doing? A team that goes 4 for 20 in the third quarter as they get outscored 31-19 and give away their lead. A team that can't get out of its own way to create the momentum and confidence. How did Toronto get confidence in this game despite a relatively poor shooting night? They got confidence in this game because they got to the line. They controlled the tempo. The Magic were searching and flailing and trying to get themselves back in it. And every time it felt like they were getting momentum, they stubbed their toe. Good choice of words considering Cole Anthony missed the game with a toe injury. But they stubbed their toe and couldn't get through the door. The Magic are beating themselves. And no matter how brilliant Paolo and Franz are, and they were brilliant. Few too many turnovers, but they were brilliant. No matter how brilliant they were, it's not enough. It has to be an entire team thing. That's what worked in November and December. That's what worked for the Raptors in this game. They believed. Maybe the Magic gave them that reason to believe. Maybe the Magic left that door open for them to believe. But they believed. They did not care that their coach tanked. That their front office is tanking. Apologies to those in the comments who keep telling me the Raptors are tanking, and I kept insisting that they are not. The Raptors tried to tank this game. And it almost worked for them. Like, good for them. Hopefully Raptors fans aren't saying this win cost them Cooper Flag. The Magic can't get out of their own way. And before we can talk about what other teams are going to do and talk about all these other things, the Magic have to start with being better themselves. Unfortunately, these are problems they've had all year. They're last in the league in free throw rate allowed, just as they're first in the league in free throw rate taken. They've been good with rebounding for most of the year, but they struggle. They'll give up offensive rebounds at the wrong moment. Obviously, their offense is inconsistent to say the least. But the Magic played with the right energy and gave themselves that chance. If the Magic would not have fouled as much as they did, they should have won this game. But could have, would have, should have gets you nowhere. At the end of the day, Jacoby Walter made that shot, and Paolo Banchero ran out of time to save this team. As Paolo said after the game, hopefully this is the bottom. Hopefully there is only one way to go from here, and that is up. There are still 19 games to figure this out. But this was as bad a loss as the Magic have had all year. I'll go ahead and say it, this is the worst loss the Magic have had all year. A loss without excuse, without permission, without anything to say about it, except the Magic as a team have to be better. Unfortunately, this is the story of the Magic season. The opportunity the team lost on Tuesday and what it represents coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Open Phone. Running a small business means you're wearing a lot of hats. Your personal phone becomes your business phone, and before you know it, you're juggling customer calls day and night. As your team grows, it becomes impossible to manage everything with just your personal number. That's where Open Phone comes in. It's the #1 business phone system designed to help you keep your work and personal life separate. For just $15 a month, the cost of a few coffees, you get complete transparency and visibility into everything happening with your business phone number. Open Phone works through an app on your phone or computer and integrates with tools like HubSpot and hundreds of others. It also uses AI-powered call transcripts and summaries, so you'll have a rundown of your calls and action items the second you hang up. And if you miss a call, no problem. Automated messages are sent directly to your customer, ensuring you never miss an opportunity to engage. Right now, OpenPhone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OpenPhone, OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA for 20% off 6 months. OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. Again, that's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA. Unfortunately, Tuesday's game felt like a major representative of how this season has gone, of how the Magic have fallen short. And even with the adversity they have faced, the opportunity that they have not been able to take advantage of. I want to talk more about it tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode is going to be a little bit more about how where the Magic go from here. Even though we're at the beginning of the fourth quarter of the season, where the Magic have to move next. What's going to be in front of them? We're going to dive into some offseason stuff tomorrow. But everything starts with this fact. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner have been really good. Since the All-Star break, they have been really good. In Tuesday's game, they have been really good. At this point, Paolo and Franz are the only players this team can rely on. Paolo and Franz are the only two players that mean anything for this team. They're the only two players the Magic know every night is going to give them something positive. There's a reason why they're running the offense. If there's a lesson from Sunday's game, it's just let Paolo and Franz do their thing. They essentially were the point guards all night. They ran this team. And frankly, the Magic's best offense comes when Paolo and Franz play off each other. Forget everybody else right now. It's the Paolo and Franz show. And again, the results speak for themselves. Orlando scored 69 total points between the two. Paolo shot 14 for 20, 4 for 5 from 3, got 22 of his 41 points in the fourth quarter, 18 of them again in the final 7.5 minutes. This should have been a game where I write about and I talk about how Paolo is back. With all the questions and all the people trying to say these things about Paolo since he came back from injury, Paolo said it after the game. It took him a month or two to get back into rhythm. He is starting to feel like himself. And frankly, he's starting to look like himself. I don't know if we'll get all the way back to where he was at the beginning of the season. I think he's going to need an offseason to regain his speed and tighten some things up. But Paolo has been great since the All-Star break. Let's just use that as a period. Franz Wagner has also been great. He had some moments where he got a shot blocked and whatever, but the Magic know they have two All-Stars that they can build on. In a lot of worlds, that's enough. But because this Magic team is just so inept on offense right now, it's not enough. But here's the thing. They have still had every opportunity. When Jalen Suggs got hurt on January 3rd, the Magic were in 4th place in the East. They're now 8th. A healthy season, absolutely. Even with all the limitations, even with all the struggles we've seen, if this team was healthy, they'd be in the race for all of their goals. They wouldn't be competing for a championship, which is ultimately where they want to be, and that's ultimately why the Magic will do things this summer. But the Magic are good enough to accomplish their goals. But they have given that away. They gave that away like they gave away this game. They foul too much. They get frustrated and down on themselves. They don't stay focused and intent on the game plan. They've lost confidence as a shooting team. They've lost trust in each other. The Magic faced an easier Eastern Conference, a more wide open Eastern Conference, and became part of the struggle. Like, look, we've seen bad teams with the Magic before. We've seen teams that have flashes of like, oh, this is going to be good, this is going to work, and just parts of it don't. What's frustrating about this season is we expect and know this team can be so much better. I've covered a lot of these rebuilding teams, and I was the one guy who said, like, I want them to win and say, I see this vision. I expect them to be more, but I didn't have any proof of that expectation. I was just, I expect them to be more because I expect them to be more. Maybe they're not. We know this team is more. And that has added a whole new layer of frustration to what we've seen from the Magic over the last 2 months. Nearing 3 months, to be perfectly honest. This team just has not delivered on who they told us they would be and what they showed us they can be. Right now, they're trying to put all these pieces together. They're trying to figure themselves out. They're trying to rebuild themselves on the fly, and it obviously has not worked. The defense is inconsistent, has some really great moments, has some really bad moments. The offense is abysmally bad outside of Paolo being brilliant and Franz being brilliant. And this is on a night when the Magic shot well from 3, 15 for 36. The Magic, despite all their injuries, still had the opportunity to compete. They still had the opportunity to earn the 6th seed to accomplish so many of their goals. Milwaukee, Indiana, Detroit are not running, have now run away from them, but they didn't run away from where the Magic always thought they would be. And that's the opportunity they have lost. They have had a lot hand delivered to them. They've had a lot taken away from them, but they have been given the lifelines to save themselves this season. And they have been unable to take them. So what happened in this game? The Raptors delivered a lifeline and said, hey, we don't want this game. Go ahead and take it. Paolo Banchero tried his darndest to take it, but obviously, again, organizations tank, players don't. This team should be better than what they've shown us. This team is better than what they've shown us. And they're not playing like it. And that falls on everybody. It falls on the players. They're passing up shots. They're not moving. They're getting frustrated. They're giving in to that frustration. They're not delivering what was promised. It's on the coaches. Jamal Mosley has not adjusted to the new reality of this team or found new ways to get guys going or to instill confidence. He's just kind of done what they believe should work, and it's not working. And yeah, I think you could criticize some of his game management and kind of keeping guys on focus or stopping the bleeding before it gets too late. And yes, you can blame management for not seeing some of these problems in the offseason, for not trying to solve any of these problems at the trade deadline, and making everybody wait for the offseason for this offseason to make something happen. The Magic are in a lost season. There are things they have gained. There are things that have happened. The way Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner have played is really encouraging. Like, if that's all we get from this season, that is still a lot. But this is a lost season. An opportunity to get better has been lost. Injuries played a big role in that. The Magic only played 97 minutes with Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, and Paolo Banchero on the floor together. That's not enough time to make any judgments about anything that they did or any of the experiments that they were running. But time does not care. Time marches forward. The season marches forward. And you still got to produce. The Magic are 8-19 since January 3rd. That's not good enough. That's regression in a massive way. And this team has lost an opportunity to salvage something, to engrave their culture, to be the new culture team that can withstand anything and everything. They haven't been able to do that. And so instead, they're sinking further and further and further down the standings. Let's run through the final box score. We'll talk about what wasn't there from the Orlando Magic. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at BetterHelp. Who's in your support system? We all need people to lean on, whether it's friends, family, mentors, or professionals. Even the strongest leaders and athletes know that asking for help makes them better. Absolutely. Paolo Banchero could use a little bit more help right now. Therapy is one of the best ways to build a strong support system off the court. It's not just for tough times. It helps with setting boundaries, developing coping skills, and becoming the best version of yourself. Therapy isn't just about crisis moments, although we do think about having that person to talk to, kind of help step back out of ourselves in the middle of a crisis. It's a tool for self-improvement, stress management, and navigating life's challenges. It's always good at any moment to have someone that is in your corner that can help you see the bigger picture, or help you sort through your emotions, or just be empathetic. We all need a little bit of that too. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Let's run through the final box scores. The Orlando Magic fall to the Toronto Raptors 114-113. They are now 1-5 on this 7-game homestand. A losing homestand is frankly a disaster. It's not good. They'll have to go 12-7 over their final 19 games to get to 500. That's going to be a tall order. The Magic have not played that well. They're capable. I still think they're capable, but I wouldn't hold my breath for it. This was bad. Again, like just a really bad loss. Orlando, Jamal Mosley was searching for something that could work. Obviously, Paolo Banchero worked. 41 points, 14 for 20 shooting, 4 for 5 from 3, 9 for 10 from the foul line, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. A career high 4 steals. Don't forget that part either. You can't waste Paolo games like this. Look, his shooting's been inconsistent. His three-point shooting has especially been inconsistent. His free throw shooting has been inconsistent. When he has games where he's dialed in on all 3 of those layers, where he's making shots, making three-pointers, making those step-back kind of star three-pointers, and making free throws, when he's doing all those things, the Magic have to win. Paolo Banchero played a winning basketball game. He sensed when his team needed him to take over, and he took over. 18 points in the final 7.5 minutes. He scored 22 in the fourth quarter total. The reason why we all still say Paolo Banchero is the star of this team, despite the efficiency arguments, despite all the debate out there on the internet, is because he's capable of things like this. He is capable of taking over games and becoming unstoppable. That's what the Magic need. Right now they need him to do it more often than not. Like look, Tracy McGrady would kill for the supporting cast that Paolo has right now. They'd still be a 500 team, but Paolo is that dude. And he's starting to play like that dude more and more. There's still been some inefficient games, and there's still a lot to work on. He's still really kind of getting himself back in the groove after the injury, but he's looking like it more and more. Again, we're going to talk more about this tomorrow, but Paolo is awesome. Like, this is a all-timer game from Paolo, and unfortunately it comes in a loss where he is not the hero. Because for the second straight night, he took over in the fourth quarter, nearly bailed the Magic out, and delivered them a win. That's the kind of player Paolo Banchero can be, and it's good to see him be that player more often. Franz Wagner struggled a little bit more, but still had 28 points, 11 for 23 shooting, 3 for 7 from 3, 3 for 4 from beyond the arc, 5 rebounds for him. Franz was also very good. He got to his spots, got to the basket, didn't finish as effectively, didn't shoot as effectively, but still a really strong game from Franz. He's got that mid-range, got turnaround down, like he's starting to shoot the ball a little bit better. I know there's still some concerns about a shot. It is coming around. It's starting to look a little bit better too. He had everything working for him too. And again, just not as efficient as Paolo, but just, again, like your 2 stars showed up. When your 2 stars show up at this level, you're going to have a chance to win. Even against good teams. If your stars show up to this degree, you'll have your chance. If everything else comes along. But again, everything else didn't come along. Toronto shot 47.5% from the floor. 12 for 30 from 3. That's 40%. They were 26 of 35 from the foul line. There's a 40-minute third quarter, which we don't want to talk about because it was just abysmal basketball where the Magic just fouled. In the third quarter, Orlando committed 9 personal fouls. Toronto committed 10. A lot of it came late. They gave up 14 free throws, 13 for 14 from the foul line. So even though they were defending field goals well, they just kept parading Toronto to the line. They fouled a little bit. Toronto made a few threes. It was bad. And the Magic just could not get out of their own way. That's my message from this whole episode. The Magic couldn't get out of their own way. They just continue to just not do the little things that they were so good at early in the season and so good at last year. It's just that simple. The Magic just are not a great team. They make mistakes that compound and grow instead of whisking them off or relying on their defense to get them back in it. And look, Jalen Suggs isn't coming back. The defense is going to be a little weaker. This is where you need a more functional offense than the Magic have. Then again, despite all of that, Orlando's offense was very functional. 48.2% shooting. They made 2 more field goals than Toronto. 15 for 36 from beyond the arc. That's 41.7%. Just the third time this season the Magic have lost when they shoot better than 40% from 3. Again, you cannot lose those games if you're the Magic because you're not going to shoot that well. 15 for 36 from 3. Corey Joseph had 2 threes. Tristan Da Silva was 4 for 5 from 3. He scored 12 points. Orlando was 18 for 23 from the line. So they did a good job getting to the line as well. You'll be okay with 23 free throw attempts. Just not when you give up 35. Usually the Magic are the ones making up ground at the foul line instead of giving up ground. And that was a huge difference in this game. As well, Toronto had 13 offensive rebounds. The Magic just didn't get enough scoring from everywhere else. Tristan da Silva off the bench at 12 points. He shot 4 for 5 from 3. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had a really nice game. Got himself going with a couple early baskets. I think he had 6 points in the first quarter. He finished with 12, 4 for 5. Sorry, not 4 for 5. 5 for 11 from the floor, 1 for 3 from 3. I thought he played really well. Just again, he disappears a little bit. His defense was pretty good for the most part throughout the night. Just has to be aggressive off the dribble and get just so much is running through Paolo and Franz. Kenny's just got to be available to shoot. He deserved to finish the game. I thought Mosley needed to come back with him a little bit earlier because he was playing so well. Back-to-back double-digit scoring games. So hopefully this means Kenny's starting to kind of find his groove and rebuild some trust. Again, just 1 for 3 from 3, but he made a lot of smart shot decisions, got to the basket. But other than Da Silva and KCP, no one else shot the ball particularly well, or no one else scored enough. Corey Joseph, starting for Cole Anthony, who had a toe injury, 8 points, 3 for 7 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3. Did about 5 assists, did about as well as you could hope. He organized a team, helped them get into their sets a little bit quicker, spaced the floor really well. A really valiant effort from Corey Joseph. The Magic know they can't lean on him too much defensively, but a really valiant job by Corey Joseph. Just did everything the Magic could have asked for and more in this game. But again, no one besides those 5 players that I mentioned made more than 1 field goal. Wendell Carter was 1 for 5, struggling with the size of Jakob Poeltl. He had 2 points, 6 rebounds in 23-36. Goga Bitadze played only 16 minutes. He had 5 rebounds in this game, 2 points, both coming from the foul line where he split 2 free throws. Jonathan Isaac made 1 3. It was a big one at the end of the game, but only 1 for 4. Jett Howard went 0 for 4 as he continues to play in the rotation. But again, just Jett Howard has made a lot of improvements defensively. He's made a lot of improvements with his sense on the ball. He cannot play if he does not make shots. And look, Anthony Black also struggled in this game. He's 1 for 4, a second straight game where he struggled. The Magic just have a lot of guys that are so up and down that when they're down, they can't play. Just plain and simple. Like Goga Bitadze is completely lost on pick and rolls. He's not getting back to his man. He's switching when the Magic aren't expecting him to switch. I don't know whose fault that is, but Goga looks lost on the floor, and that's a big problem. Anthony Black, his confidence has always gone up and down. It's in a down spot right now. Imagine you figure out how to get him going and get his confidence going. I think they tried on Sunday to get him more shots, and that didn't work. It's the Magic have two functioning offensive players with Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs out and Mo Wagner out. Everything has to go through Paolo and Franz, and when Paolo and Franz are off the floor, things just don't work. Frankly, when one of them is off the floor, it doesn't have to be both. When one of them is off the floor, things really struggle. Everything right now is funneling through Paolo and Franz often together. And that's, again, why the Magic are struggling against bad teams and why they're frankly playing like a tanking team over the last 2 months. Again, Paolo and Franz are playing better. They're playing fine. I don't have a bad thing to say about Paolo or Franz. They did their jobs tonight. They're trying to win. They're fighting as hard as they can. And, others are fighting too, but just the execution is not there on either end. And that's how you come up with a loss like this. A 114-113 defeat to the Toronto Raptors. Orlando's now lost 4 games in a row to fall to 29-34. They are now a game and a half behind the Heat for 7th in the Eastern Conference, so a trip down to Miami is possible. They are also only a half game ahead of the Atlanta Hawks, who lost on Tuesday as well to the Milwaukee Bucks. So the Magic maintain their spot in 8th, but it is very precarious. The Hawks have 1 game in hand. The Heat have 3 games in hand on the Orlando Magic, so they've got to pick up wins if they want to host that playing game and avoid a trip somewhere at the end of the season. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Find me on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all from listening podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, you can check us out on YouTube as well at Locked On Magic. Don't forget also, I have started up the Instagram page again. You can find that Instagram page at Locked On Magic. Thank you. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/OrlandoMagicHub. Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done listening to me, be sure to read me every day on the Locked On Magic daily newsletter, the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. In there, you get a fresh article from me, usually a little bit more bite-sized than I normally write. You get a fresh article from me every Monday through Friday. On yesterday's newsletter, you got a national perspective on the Orlando Magic and their struggles with Jalen Suggs' injury. And you get your fantasy tip of the day, plus links from around the web and the latest episodes of Locked On Magic. So be sure to check that out again at LockedOnDaily.com to subscribe to the Locked On Magic newsletter. That's good, dude, for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Here's to looking up and here's to getting out. On tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic, we'll begin talking about how the Magic get out of this mess in the big picture, why Paolo and Franz are so key to everything that comes next. We'll get to that tomorrow on Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Phil Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.